In question number 6, it asks what are the solutions to the equation 2x squared minus 38 equals 12. In this example, or in this question on the test, you're gonna have to write your answer with no spaces, something like this. So x equals, and then whatever your two answers are, that's how you're gonna wanna write your solution. Now here, remember whenever we're using the quadratic formula and we are trying to solve the equation to find our solutions, we have to be in standard form. That's our ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Notice here I'm not set equal to 0, so I'm going to have to move this 12 to the other side to start. And since it's a positive 12 on this side, I'm going to do the opposite, so I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. So when I do that, I'm going to get 2x squared, freak out pen attack there, 2x squared minus 50 equals 0. Now you might be saying to yourself, that doesn't quite look like standard form. I'm missing a term. All of our examples have had 3 terms. This one only has 2 terms. We briefly talked about in class how if you're missing a term, then that value is just going to be 0 for that coefficient. So since I'm missing the middle term, I don't have just an x term, that means I have 0 b's. So I can let 0 equal b. I know what a is 2, and I know what c is my constant and it's negative 50. So when you're missing a term, just let it be 0, and then you can just plug everything into the quadratic formula like you did in the previous example. So I'm going to go ahead and substitute in all of my values. So I'm going to have negative 0, doesn't really make sense, but I'm just going to follow the formula to begin with. I've got 0 squared because I've got b squared and b is 0, minus 4 times a, which is 2, times c, which is negative 50, all over 2 times a, and a is 2. All right, now comes the part where we do all of our simplifying. So we are just going to have 0 plus or minus the square root of 0. And then I've got negative 4 times 2 times negative 50. So if you want, you can go ahead and pull up your calc and just give that a quick plug in to make sure that we don't make any mistakes with our multiplication. And we should be getting 400. Okay, so I'm going to add 400. And that's going to be all over 4 because 2 times 2 is 4. So if I bring up this work up here, I'm going to end up with 0 plus or minus the square root of 400 all over 4. Well, the square root of 400 is just 20. And if you don't believe me, you can plug that into your calculator. Okay, so if you're ever in doubt or you want to check, maybe you think you know the answer, it's never a bad idea just to go check to make sure you don't make a simple mistake in your head when doing your math. So now I have 2 separate problems. I have 0 plus 20 divided by 2, and I have 0 minus 20 divided by 2. And we could have dropped the 0. We don't need it because we know that we can't add 0 or subtract 0 from anything and it changed the value. But this is going to be just 20 over 2 or 10. Oh, and why did I put 2 here? Mrs. Stanley's making a mistake. This is over 4. I know some of you are probably yelling at me back there. Glad I didn't keep going. Okay, so this isn't going to be 10. It's going to be 5 because 20 divided by 4 is 5. And then I have negative 20 divided by 4, which is going to be negative 5. So when I write my answer, remember I want to write it like the example shown here. I would type in x equals 5 comma negative 5. Or if you wrote it the other way, it would still accept your answer. But you want to make sure you have no spaces when you're writing your answer. Okay?